think this movie has the record for most number of cameos in a Muppets movie. There are 27 cameos here. Try and catch them all, and plus points if you catch Tom Hiddleston. Muppets Most Wanted is directed by James Bobbin, written by Nicholas Stoller and James Bobbin, and stars, of course, the Muppets, Rickey Gervais, Ty Burrell, and Tina Fey. Now, Muppets Most Wanted takes place literally the second the previous movie ends, and now the Muppets are kind of figuring out what to do next, and Rickey Gervais, who's playing this guy named Dominic Bad Guy, or Bad G, if you want to believe he's French, he kind of becomes their tour manager and convinces them to do this trip around the world so he can get his accomplice Constantine, who is this frog who looks exactly like Kermit except for a mole, who is like the most dangerous thief in the world. And they pretty much swap places, him and Kermit. Kermit gets sent to the Siberian prison, while Dominic, Bad Guy, and Constantine are planning to do a heist while they're on the Muppet tour. Now, Muppets Most Wanted actually has quite a striking resemblance to The Great Muppet Caper, because it's the second movie, and it came out like after a movie that, you know, acknowledged that the Muppets were like, Muppets. And it is also not as good as the first one, but obviously. But it's not like as disappointing as The Great Muppet Caper was. This is still a pretty solid movie, and this is kind of like the cross your fingers moment because, again, if this movie does well, then it shows that the Muppets still have it in them. Like they can keep making movies. Now this movie actually looks really, really good. I mean, we're in 2014 now, so lots of movies look great. But what I'm surprised by is that they really kind of shot on lots of real locations here. And I have no idea if that Siberian prison thing is actually real, but it looked good. So I have to give props to the production designers, also props to the costume designers, because there's actually lots of different costume changes here, especially with the Muppets since they're traveling on tour, lots of different costume changes, and all look great. Now what surprised me a lot in this movie, the songs are actually really excellent, because I really was not expecting the music to be any better anymore, because it's usually like that, The Muppet movie in 1979 had great music, then the ones after that never really lived up to it. The Muppets in 2011 had great music. I didn't expect anything to live up to that. But here, it is actually really, really good. I guess it's because they had the same songwriter. And it's good when I have to look through the list on Wikipedia to kind of point out songs. They acknowledge at the very start that they're doing a sequel. The song is called We're Doing a Sequel. And what I like is a bunch of characters have like introductory songs. So there's I'm Number One, sung by Constantine and Rickey Gervais. There's The Big House, sung by Tina Fey. And there are lots of different like crazy songs too, like I'll Get You What You Want. Cockatoo in Malibu is a really fun song also. They sing the Muppet Show theme in Spanish, which is amazing. There's also the song Something So Right, which is also fun. They do Together Again, also like how the first movie did Rainbow Connection again. Here they do another old song. My favorite song though has to be Interrogation Song. It's just so unique and it's just so fun to listen to. And I will admit I kind of just sat there trying to wait for a song that would not be relevant. And it's kind of hard to argue the relevance here because every time that I was thinking like, okay, I'm gonna try and criticize this song, I literally noticed that my foot was tapping, and I was like, okay, like I guess I just gotta be so stuck up and looking for holes and things, like just enjoy it. Also, great shout out to a chorus line. There's a song they do from that musical, and it's great. And in terms of the acting from the human characters, it's fantastic. Like you have three main human characters here, and they're actually all extremely well done and well used. Ricky Gervais as Dominic Bad Guy, he's hilarious, I think, and his scenes are usually with Constantine, and I think he really does carry those scenes so much because he just has, the energy and the charisma, and he is so used to this comedy thing. Tina Fey is great and weirdly charming as this Siberian prison warden person, and I don't know, like I know she's like 43 years old, but Tina Fey is still a really good-looking woman. Now, the three human characters in this movie pretty much represent the three kind of storylines, not really storylines, but like points of view that this movie takes. There's the one with the Muppets on tour with Constantine and Dominic Bad Guy, and there's the Siberian prison thing, and then my favorite parts of the entire movie definitely have to be with Ty Burrell and Sandy Eagle. They're the cops who are trying to figure out this, this heist thing that's been happening. And they're so funny. Ty Burrell is such a funny guy, and just his interplay with Sandy Eagle, it's amazing. And what I like about the direction here is that James Bobbin really directs this like it's an actual, heist movie. Like he doesn't let the puppets stop him from, directing like how how you would direct a normal movie. I also like how during some songs there's some really crazy stuff that happens that's really just imaginative and creative and it's fun. Oh, and right, the 27 cameos, like what's surprising about them is that they're not all like in your face. A lot of them are very subtle and you really do have to keep an eye out to catch them. In terms of the writing, the plot is pretty much standard fare, nothing that special. Although I have to admit I was way more interested in the prison parts and the Sam the Eagle, Ty Burrell parts. Like the actual heist thing, it didn't really interest me as much. In terms of characterization, I feel like the humans got like the bigger share of the characterization. Like the Muppets don't really get that much screen time, and some people might complain. Some people might complain that Walter is given too much screen time, but I think for new audiences, Walter kind of has to be at the forefront so they can relate him to the first one, and But those aren't really my problems with the movie. One of my problems with the movie is that they try and kind of shoehorn the message in there, and the message they end up having is kind of shallow. Like I don't really buy it as like this heartfelt message. So this movie is kind of lacking heart, and I'm not, my problem isn't necessarily with the message itself. It's how they shoehorned it in. Like at least dedicate time to fleshing it out. Another problem also, and this is gonna baffle some people. For the hardcore Muppet fans, you're gonna be enraged by this, but they use some CGI for some Muppets here. Why? I mean, they've always done things through puppetry, even like big elaborate shots, and them using CGI is just really shocking because you know the movements they do with CGI aren't really necessarily that complicated. It's just that seeing that was like, oh my gosh, are they actually getting lazy? And I have to admit that I felt like there was too much Constantine, too much main plot. I really like the side parts more. I don't know what they could have done, but I felt like the editing was just kind of off there. But overall, Muppets Most Wanted is still a pretty good movie in my opinion. Don't come in expecting like lots of heart and stuff. It's definitely more blockbustery. And I'm just begging the filmmakers, please keep this momentum. Like, don't ever let it stoop down to like just an okay or a meh level. Just really just keep it going because I want these movies to keep going. This whole week, me watching Muppet movies has turned me into a fan, and I'm gonna be there for the next one. Alright guys, that is the end of Muppets Week. Oh my gosh. But this has been very educational for me. I feel like this is more for me than for anyone else, but whatever. It is really, really fun. I hope you guys can check out the Muppet movies because they are really, really great overall. Alright, so have you seen Muppets Most Wanted? What do you think of it? Do you love it? Do you hate it? Whatever you think, whether you agree with me or not, please leave me a comment and let's have a conversation.